My name is Megan Deal. I am a brown-haired female. I am sitting in a power chair in a buffalo plaid dress. I am behind a yellow wall with a wedding photo on it. I am a wife, a mother, a writer, and a disability advocate. I was born with spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy. I am also legally blind. For most of my life, I utilized a walker and crutches to navigate the world. Currently, I am unable to walk with a walker long distances, and I use a power chair for my daily life. My husband also has spastic quadriplegia CP. We both are wheelchair users. We met at Ball State University through the former director of disability services at Ball State, and we really began our advocacy journey there. We were a part of an organization called ADA, Alliance for Disability Awareness. My husband and I have always dealt with ableism in our relationship. We have been together now for 10 years, and we remember distinctly our first interaction with ableism. We were out to dinner with a friend at a restaurant in town, and the waitress that was waiting on us would not make eye contact with either my husband and I, was asking our friend what we would like to order, and even when our friend would redirect and say, ask them, she would not ask us. She only spoke to me when she realized that I was the one paying the bill for the restaurant. That was our first interaction, and that was the first time we had to have a long discussion about how we were going to handle ableism together, and we decided that we were going to be a team and tackle it head on. And that is what we've done ever since. We are parents to a 2-year-old little boy who is absolutely amazing. He is the light of our life, and we are beyond blessed to have him. I was under the impression that I could never conceive a child, and when I found out I was pregnant with him, we'd taken me to the emergency room because I thought I had a bout of flu or something. Come to find out, we got the really joyous news that we were expecting. Our first emergency room doctor that saw us, she was absolutely amazing. The only thing that was a bit off-putting to my husband was the fact that she was asking him multiple times if he understood what was going on, and he said yes, and she said, are you sure, do you know what pregnancy is? And he said yes, and eventually she stopped asking, but we were under the impression that maybe she thought that we couldn't understand what was going on. The experience got worse, however, when the OBGYN came in that was consulting with the emergency room doctor, and she asked us if we conceived naturally, which I assume is a very common question that OBGYNs ask, and we said yes ma'am, we did. And she said, are you sure? And we said yes, and she said, are you lying? And we said, no, we're not. And then she started asking some very personal, probing questions. And at that point, I had to stop it. And I looked at my husband and I said, can you get her to stop? And at that point, when I said that, I think she realized, okay, I need to stop asking. But we came home that afternoon after finding out I was expecting, feeling very drained, and realizing that ableism was going to be a major undercurrent in parenting. Fortunately, I found an amazing OBGYN who is an extremely compassionate, understanding human being, and actually helped me to let me talk about the struggles I was dealing with ableism when it came to pregnancy. Unfortunately, I didn't really receive a lot of, oh, congratulations, when I was out in public and pregnant. A lot of people, I still receive some, but a lot of people would ask me, oh, that has to be so difficult that you're you're giving your child up for adoption, they automatically jump to that conclusion. And it made being pregnant, it was an extremely happy time because we were so excited because he was our miracle baby, but there was always an undercurrent of sadness because ableism, again, was ruining a perfectly happy, amazing, healthy pregnancy. Thankfully, I had an amazing team at labor and delivery, and there was minimal complications with his birth, and many of the nurses were very fond of me and my husband, I believe, and the ableism was very, very little. I experienced very, very little. There were a few nurses that were extremely ableist. One of them was a night nurse, and she basically sat in my in the room I delivered my son in while I was feeding him, because I don't know, she said, "Are you sure you've got him? Are you sure you've got him? Are you sure?" And I reassured her, "Yes, I've got my son and I'm able to do this. I was shown by lactation how to do this." And she said, "Well, I'm just going to sit here and make sure." And my husband got a little frazzled at that point, and he said, "I'm going to go for a walk." So that was a little bit, but other than that, that was a little bit difficult. But other than that, I had an amazing experience, and I loved every single one of my labor and delivery nurses. We went home very prepared and ready to be parents. Ableism is still something I experience to this day, and it's pretty abhorrent, some of the things that I have to deal with, some of the things that I'm told. My son is now 2 years old, so he understands when someone is being ableist. When I do go out to a store and I do bring my son with me, I get a lot of sideways glances or people saying that's disgusting. How could someone like that have a child? It's very draining, it hurts, and usually after an outing with my son, I have to take a moment to decompress and to refocus because I get in a very negative headspace. I've had many people, I've had to get managers many times in stores or restaurants because people try to hold my son and ask me if I'm his sister and where my mother is. And I feel very unsafe a lot of the time because if you're trying to take my child, I'm going to go into defense mode and get very, very upset and get a manager, and it's scary for me. It's extremely scary, and it's hard to go anywhere on my own. My hopes in doing this video and sharing my heart with you all is that maybe I can change people's viewpoints, because ableism is wrong and ableistic thoughts are extremely wrong. But if you don't know that you're doing something wrong and you're living in ignorance about ableism, you need to be educated, and I am more than willing to share my story and my heart to maybe educate some people and change this, make it better. If anyone needs a resource or someone to ask if something is ableist, I am more than willing to be that resource. I am always very proud of people that change their minds and change their viewpoints. Sometimes I know it can be, rather difficult to change something that's been ingrained in your head, because most people, when they see somebody with a disability, it's, those poor people. But we can do everything that you can do. I do everything for my son while my husband is working. I change my son, I feed my son, I clothe my son. I have no help with my son whatsoever, aside from grandparents maybe taking him once in a while. There's a very big misconception that I have to deal with, that I get a lot of help from other people to care for my son, and that is absolutely 100% not the case. It is definitely okay to need help to take care of a child, however. I know that I personally don't need much help in caring for my son, but I know many disabled parents who do need that help, whether it be because they have dexterity issues or because something takes them an hour versus 15 minutes. So they utilize someone else's hands to perform the task, like a diaper change. But that parent is right there with their child while the task is being completed. It is okay for a disabled parent to ask for help, just like it's okay for any parent to ask for help. But it is not okay, and it is very ableist to assume that a disabled parent needs help. I know firsthand that ableism exists and that my husband and I experience it on a daily basis. But it should not deter a couple from having a family if that is what they really want. Having a family is one of the most beautiful experiences in the world. However, I will say from our experience, we experienced ableism as a couple as soon as we told family members that we were pregnant. Family members were very upset. They sat us down and said that we should give our son up for adoption, or that we will never be able to take care of him. I had one family member specifically state that I can't be raising a child at X amount of years. And that was very hurtful, and I addressed that right away. There are other things that happened, like people saying that after we brought our son home that we should have somebody able-bodied live with us because they needed to be sure that our son was properly cared for and that he wasn't in any danger, even though we have proven to those people now that we can be great parents and that our son, nothing has ever happened to our son, and we can do anything that any able-bodied person can do. We still experienced that ableism, and we still to this day feel as though we need to prove ourselves to those people. We, like I said, we love being parents, and please don't let ableism and the feelings that other people have towards parents with disabilities that are negative deter you from being parents. If you know you're going to be an amazing parent and you're going to try your best to raise an amazing human being, please be a parent. I hope this has opened someone's eyes, and thank you for listening to me share my story. Thank you for listening and watching. Little kiss. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.